Hello, and welcome back to Tell's podcast. We are coming to you from Andrew's childhood bedroom.
That's right. You should feel very honored. There are very few females that have made it this far because my mom was very old school and she didn't let girls upstairs.
As it should be.
Yeah?
I am new school, and there will be no girls or boys going upstairs.
That's not new school.
What is that?
That's old school.
So you should just let your kids have boys over, girls upstairs, boys upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Did it really, make a difference, you think?
It made a difference in a lot of people's lives.
How do you figure?
There were lots of girls getting pregnant.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do you think girls weren't getting pregnant because they weren't allowed upstairs?
The thing is, you're just trying to reduce
the probability
of this occurring.
And
you know your kids are going to have sex. You just don't want them to be having sex in your house and falling pregnant.
You just don't want to take responsibility for it, but it's probably going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, but if you did it in your car, then it's not really my responsibility. But if it's in my house, now I feel a little bit responsible for it, no?
You just don't want that hanging over your head as a mother.
No.
As a grandmother.
A young grandmother.
So do you feel honored to be up here?
I guess so. I guess I should feel honored.
I think you should.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. It's a nice room, isn't it? These red walls are beauties. It's beautiful up here. I always liked red.
You did? Is that why you got your room painted?
When a kid, I always wanted to have a red Ferrari.
Ah. And now, do you still want a red Ferrari?
I still don't have a red Ferrari. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a red Ferrari.
You moving in the right direction. You have a girl here now, so
it's true.
I think you're moving in the right direction.
My dreams are coming true.
Yeah?
Slowly, one by one. So there could be a red Ferrari in my future.
What did you tell girls? Were you ever invited upstairs to a girl's bedroom?
Well, when I was in high school, I pretty much just had one girlfriend for the vast majority of high school, and I wasn't allowed up in her room either.
No.
So there wasn't a whole lot of room visitation happening in that relationship.
Where did you hang out?
Where did we hang out?
Mm-hmm.
Downstairs.
On the couch?
In the basement. Yeah. I mean, here in Michigan, we actually have basements. We don't have basements in Las Vegas. So yeah, I guess either in the basement or if we were at her place, I guess just whatever the living room thing was.
That's cute. Yeah, but it was kind of the same for me in South Africa. There was no visiting
bedrooms.
No.
Yeah, but obviously, I mean, do we want to talk about when you lost your virginity on this show?
We're not ready for that.
Okay. Well,
I was old too. If you want to talk about it,
it didn't lead to abstinence. Just this non-bedroom visitation thing is my whole point.
It might not lead to abstinence, but we already talked about this. Okay. It's reducing the probability of people getting pregnant under your watch.
Yes, you're right.
Because today it's not the same. I think people want to take responsibility for their kids alone. Mm-hmm. But growing up, it was always very much a village thing, right? So if somebody else's mom saw you doing something wrong, she would scold you for it without taking into account that you're not her actual child. It was I'm an adult, you're a kid, and you shouldn't be doing that. But now, I think, I'm not sure 100%, but I don't know. I feel like people just go, oh, not my child. I don't know how you discipline your child. So I'm not going to get involved. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know how that works today.
We just don't go over to those strict people's houses. I don't think we go to the kids' house where they have cool parents.
That let you go upstairs?
Yeah. Or you can get away with drinking in their house.
Yeah, but also that, it is the responsibility, because if you let kids drink at your house and something happens.
Yeah, you could get in legal trouble. Did you have friends where you went to their house and it was more anything goes at their house? Or
Mm,
no?
not really.
No.
Like we had some freedoms, but we definitely weren't drinking. You know,
Yeah. Well,
it
I
wasn't
mean,
like
like,
so policed, but
not even if it was like approved, but just because it was a little bit like less supervision happening.
what are you talking about? Anything goes,
I don't know. You didn't start drinking probably as early as
as you did.
us Midwestern folk start.
No, everything was late. It must have been in like 10th grade when I had my first sip of
Well,
alcohol.
that's still pretty early.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
10th grade, like 2 years left of school. That's late. I was like 16.
I guess so. I mean, what's the drinking age in South Africa?
18.
Yeah, so I guess that's different.
Oh, yeah, 16, and you had 5 more years to drink.
Technically, yeah.
Or 5 more years to drink legally. So, yeah, 10th grade, and then I didn't drink until after school, really. So,
Mhm. Just looking at how this video thing looks. If you're listening on, what's it called? iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher or on the web somewhere, we have video, as mentioned in the previous podcast. They're the second time in a row, the second time ever we have video. And I just noticed my Curious George is also in the shot. That's my old buddy, Curious George. For some reason, I took all his clothes off. He used to have clothes. I don't know what happened to them.
you stripped Curious George.
Yeah, man. This is like,
It was a free room. Like, you
Yeah.
just let it all hang out
you gotta
in
be
here.
comfortable here. Make yourself at home, George.
Take off all your clothes.
Yeah, no need to be curious anymore.
I don't know if his clothes made him curious or not.
Right. I don't know. He was probably curious about other things.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just like people raise their kids differently. What would you do? Like, if you saw your friend's child doing something, what would you do? Would you say
Probably
something,
have to
or
say something? Yeah, but it depends.
would you say something to the parent, or would you say
Probably to the
something?
kid?
What would you say?
Well, what is it?
I don't know.
Like,
Like,
give me an example.
what do you think shouldn't be done?
Well, like if they're drinking or what?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like my kids should. I feel like we should have a beer and not have it be this like forbidden fruit kind of a thing, because I think that leads kids to want to try it. So I think we should be like, okay, this is what it is. Don't overdo it. Have like a sort of realistic chat with it about it. But I think if it was someone else's kid, then I don't think I would be. I don't think I would be the one to be able to give them permission to be able to try it, and I should probably be responsible for them to not be getting into trouble or things that they're not supposed to be doing if their parents aren't into it.
What would you say though?
To the kid,
Yeah.
be like, can't do that here, buddy. Go home if you're going to do that. Ask your parents.
Go home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it's kind of good to stay out of people's business, but then, like, if you see somebody going in harm's way, then I think you have to say something, no?
Probably.
I don't know. Parents out there, let us know. What would you do if somebody else's kid was misbehaving?
Yeah.
I mean,
How much time do we have to figure these things out
what do you mean?
before we have our kids to discipline?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think you know. You just do it when you have a child.
I'm ready.
Here we go again.
Are you ready?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll just keep waiting.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for waiting.
Speaking of life events, we were at a wedding.
We were. That's why we were in Michigan. We drove to Port Clinton, right? Port
Sounds right.
Clinton, Ohio. And congratulations, James and Nina, on your union.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful wedding at the Catawba Island Club.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was?
Yep. That's what it was.
That island life.
Mm-hmm.
No money.
It rained on their wedding day.
I think that's a good sign.
Wasn't that ironic?
Why?
Do you know that Alanis Morissette song?
It's like Ryan.
Yep, that's the one.
Should have asked the band to play that one.
That's right. That would have been a good choice. Would have made a lot of sense. But nice wedding anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were a groomsman.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Did you love it?
I felt very honored and important
Mm.
to be there, standing up while the actual union was made. But aside from that, you don't really do anything. You just kind of stand there. You walk down the aisle. I don't have to give a speech or anything.
Would you have been nervous if you had to give a speech?
Yeah, I'm sure I would have been nervous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brad G, he was pretty nervous when he gave his speech, but
He did
I
great.
told him that I think people really dig the sincerity of it, even like saying that he was nervous. I think people really like related to that and saw that he was like that he took it seriously, that it was like important to him, that it wasn't just like flippant about it. So I think it's fine to be nervous and even like being vulnerable or whatever. Like I think that's nice, sweet. So yeah, I'm sure I would be nervous too. Public speaking, not really my thing.
You speak a lot
This
for
is
public
easy.
speaking not being your
There's
thing.
nobody here other than a camera and you.
So it's the people watching you,
Mm-hmm.
eyes on you.
Mm-hmm.
But you have people watching you all the time. Like, so it's just because it's post-production
Yeah.
and you're not there physically feeling all the sensations of being
That's
in
right.
front
Yeah,
of people.
like if I stumble here, I know you'll edit it out. If it's like me sitting here thinking for like 3 minutes about what I want to say, cut those 3 minutes out of this show. But yeah, when you're in the moment and you just start stumbling over your words and it becomes a train wreck, then you just have to live with that forever.
Mm.
People see that you're weak.
People
Your
are not that interested.
Your skin
in
starts changing colors.
Yeah, that's the problem with being your color.
Yeah.
Your skin goes.
You don't blush, do you?
Not really.
That's not fair.
Not really.
Probably you might a little bit, but definitely not as drastic as a pale man of my paleness.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I remember when I used to give speeches, I was always very, very nervous in school. But in Afrikaans, we had to give a speech like every single week for multiple terms.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was just like, nobody really cares because everybody's worried about their own nervousness. And I think, like you said, like being able to relate to somebody because everybody knows that feeling of just anxiously, even if you are the best speaker. I think when you first step up on stage, looking at all those people.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think the best speakers like are excited and can't wait to get up there.
But it's exactly the same thing, right? It's the same feeling.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Excitement and
Fear
is the same feeling.
I don't think so.
It's just the thoughts that accompany
Is
that
true?
emotion. Yes,
Or is this a theory of yours?
baby.
I know you like to have theories and vocalize them. But
You should have some theory. You have
yeah,
some
my
theories
theory
of your
is-
own.
My theory is that public speaking is awful. I mean, once it like starts going well and you get that first laugh, then it's like becomes so much easier.
Yeah, because you've broken the ice.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. You've made that connection with the audience and you can just flow a little bit more. But if you don't get a laugh very early on.
Not everything's a laughing matter then, though. So it means that you just have to like.
Right. Yeah, if you're giving a speech about something serious, just kill me.
Oy. Okay.
I
Anyway.
can't handle it. I would like to be able to get over that fear though. As far as this wedding goes, did you enjoy it?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up to the wedding. Yeah.
Did you think I looked handsome?
You looked very dashing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You always look nice when you wear a suit, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Should I always wear a suit?
Yeah, you should.
Really?
I've been telling you that. You should wear a suit to go to work.
Every day?
Try it for 3 months. Change your life.
3 months. It's a long trial, isn't it?
It takes a while to change
Thought you were
habits.
gonna say 3 days.
3 days. Anybody can do anything for 3 days.
Wouldn't I need many suits if I was going to wear
Sure.
a suit every day?
Sure. Multiple
Okay.
shirts.
You going to get me those suits?
You can just buy them.
The funniest thing happened. Speaking of suits,
I was just thinking about that.
Shout out to Flo. So we used this service. The groom requested or demanded that we use this service called, I don't even know if we should mention them, but it's like it's called the Black Tux, and it's like this the suit rental thing. So everyone has the exact same suit, accessories like tie and suspenders and whatever. So one of my fellow groomsmen, his name is Flo or Florian. His suit, which he didn't notice because I think he tried it on, but I'm not sure. But anyway, like at the arm, like just underneath the shoulder, had this like little tear in it, and he didn't notice it until the day of the wedding. He's like, "That's super annoying, but whatever." It didn't really stand out, but it was a significant all the way through the sleeve tear.
That's how it got there?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't do it.
No, of course not.
So anyway, the wedding happens. We're at the reception. Dancing is happening. Energy is high, and Flo is out there on the dance floor. I think they did the thing where like people get in a circle and someone gets in the middle and does a dance or whatever. And I think Flo was in the middle of that doing his performance or whatever. And like, I don't know if he was like twerking or like crouched down or something, but like huge rip right down the back of his pants, like a foot long rip. Like you can basically see he's wearing white boxers, white underwear, whatever, and it's like glaring.
Where were we? We missed that.
It was funny because
part of the wedding.
I knew Flo did something, and he's a pretty funny guy. He's got like awesome personality, and I knew he did something because there was like literally like 20 people like cracking up, laughing, like basically couldn't tell if it was like at Flo or with him or whatever. I knew he did something, but like dying laughing. I was like, oh man, I definitely missed something that Flo did over there. So yeah, I don't know. We were just like maybe 20 feet away, but I could see everyone just like cracking up at this. And it's so funny because like he had the sleeve malfunction and now his pantsuit is like ripped to shreds. And for some reason he was the chosen one who his like entire suit was in shambles and fell apart.
And there was something about that in that groomsman guide about what if your pants rip or something.
Oh, really?
And then I just looked at that and rolled my eyes. I was like, nobody's pants ever rips at a wedding. They said like either tie your suit jacket around your waist or just go with it.
Yeah, he definitely has like the personality to just go with it and be like, this is life, like F my life, whatever.
Right.
Kind of a personality. So I don't think anyone felt like bad for him because it was just hilarious, and I think he took it really well. But man, that's some run bad right there to have it show up ripped and then just ripped to shreds later on the rest of it.
All that twerking. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you enjoy the wedding?
Had a blast. I had a medium headache this morning from various beverages. Tried the Pedialyte thing for the first time ever.
And how'd that go
for
you?
It's a thing.
I have heard about it.
It's a hangover cure, Pedialyte.
Yeah.
I don't know if we did it properly because
I didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, you thought it was gross.
Yeah, it tastes terrible, and I don't know. You drink water, have a coffee in the morning, and then you're usually fine.
An Advil at night you had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't take the Advil at night. I should have done that.
I don't know why you don't ever do that. Because you like already know what's going to happen.
Isn't it really bad for your stomach to have that with a bunch of alcohol?
Is it?
I think so.
Oh. Now you tell me.
Or your liver or something. One of those. I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
We'll have to just not drink.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
And how did your Pedialyte go?
Yeah, I think I should have like pounded a lot of it before bed, or a lot of it when I woke up. I sort of like sipped it. I was like.
So that's why it didn't work, clearly.
I'm fine now. I'm just tired. So, I've definitely had hangovers following weddings that last a lot longer. And I drove us back 2 hours after the wedding, back to the folks' house. So
yeah, it wasn't.
Could have been worse.
It wasn't like a crazy wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty
reserved.
Yeah.
Good
times. We
times.
danced, we had cocktails, but it wasn't like crazy.
Yeah, well, it ended at 11:30, and then there was no after party. So.
Yeah, but we would have gone. You had to leave.
We could have gone to the honeymoon. They could have invited us to the honeymoon suite. That would have been nice.
No, I don't think so. They've waited to be together all day.
Well, we drove all the way down there.
All right, shall we go to some listener feedback?
It's probably for the best. Yes, let's do it. Listener feedback.
All right. So we got an email from Joshua. Thank you for your email, Joshua. Joshua says, "Greetings. First off, I'll start with some very minor feedback, kind of in response to your complaint of lack of feedback from the couch date episode."
Okay, hit us.
And that's what brought up, remember, the angry black woman thing?
Mm-hmm.
Only Josh remembered that. Do you know what I mean? Nobody else mentioned the feedback.
The feedback part? That's what brought it up, is that we weren't getting any feedback?
Right. You said I was an angry black woman. That's where it came from. Okay. Joshua says, "It would be extremely helpful if you had your email address in the show notes. I listen to podcasts on my commute, so I'm not ready to write down the email address. And while yes, it's really simple, almost all my other podcasts say their emails or contact info and it gets jumbled. So
fair point.
Thank you for that, Josh."
Okay. Thanks, Josh.
Joshua. He signed Joshua. So I always try and address people the way they want to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about name shortenings?
Thanks, Jay.
Like if somebody calls you Drew.
I like Drew. I really don't like Andy.
I don't like either.
I like Drew. Feels good. What's up, Drew? Like that.
But you're so not a Drew. But anyway.
It's just because you're used to calling me Andrew, I think.
If you had introduced yourself as Drew,
mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it would be here. Honestly.
That's ridiculous.
Really?
I think so. I think it's just because it's what you're used to calling me.
On to the question. He says, "I'm really curious if either of you have thought about the legacy you are leaving behind or the public perception that you are generating by being in the public eye. I've always been a wallflower, flying under the radar, but recently I've been stepping out more and taking on lots of leadership roles with my school. It really hit me the other day that I am known and recognized by so many people that I don't know, and I know they have discussions about me without my presence, and I get curious as to what the perception of me is. I'm sure for you it may be easier to get some of the feedback with YouTube comments and award ceremonies and public voting, but I'm still curious if you had similar realization once you started with the vlog and now the podcast."
Similar realization as to
that people might be talking about you, and what do they actually think of you?
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of answered that to some degree, that there are comments and discussions, at least about me, like on forums.
I had a comment. Somebody said I wasn't attractive enough.
You mean for me?
They said for Andrew,
they said
for Nimi.
I was out of your league, basically.
Shame on that person.
First of all, that person couldn't string together 10 words without misspelling half of them.
Yeah, but whatever. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I thought it was hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Yeah, okay. But to answer Joshua's question about have you thought of the legacy or the perception that you are building or, being out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I thought a lot about what people thought of me. And sometimes too much. And the most liberating thing is realizing that people don't think about you that much, or they shouldn't, because your life is a full-time job. Like your whole life is a full-time job. So if you're going to spend your energy and time worrying about other people, your life gets exponentially harder.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think that it's good, especially for me, because I can totally relate to Joshua saying that he was a wallflower. I never like to sort of speak up first or whatever. Like I'm good talking to somebody one-on-one, but I wouldn't be the first one to raise my hand and be like, I will, read out loud in class or say my speech first or whatever the case is. So that's liberating, where you actually get over that fear, because then you realize that nothing's actually happening, nothing bad is happening. And also the kind of perception that you put out in the world, as long as you're not harming anybody or spreading hate, then good. Like, you give people flavor. They can just try something else and see a different side and a different way of thinking and a different way of being in the world. Because otherwise, like, if you just, I don't know, like not watch yourself, but if you don't have people talking and showing you different ways of living, then you just think that there's one way or there's one right way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my A to your Q, Joshua. I love that.
I think it's a good answer. I definitely agree that, like, when you said you're going to be such a small part, like, even if people are talking about you, you're going to be such like a small passing thought in their day, really, or their conversations, right? So, like, someone might talk about you for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something in their day, in their conversations. It's not like they're spending their entire being or their entire day thinking about you.
Right. And if they are, then they have other problems that you cannot help them with.
That's a little scary if they are thinking about you all day. So, yeah, even though, like, what people, like, people's feedback and how our, like, either the blog or this podcast or whatever, like, how it's received is important to us. It's also not, like, such a massive concern on any one particular person's level, I don't think, if that makes sense.
Right, because the biggest thing is that if somebody's talking about me or talking about you, you are powerless to do anything about that. Like, if you're presenting yourself as...
I can delete their comments and block them. We have the power in the end, baby.
Okay, I guess so in that regard. But you know what I mean? Like, if somebody thinks ill of you or doesn't like you, and not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay, like...
What do you think he means by the legacy that you're leaving?
What your grandkids will think of you. Mm-hmm. Do you wonder what or people, maybe if you don't have any children, people 50 years from now, when they watch your vlog, if they can even find it, like, what would they think of you?
I don't know if it'll be, like, remotely relevant or interesting 50 years from now, but if it is in some fashion to somebody, then I think that's pretty cool.
Right. So I think it would be, I mean, what would you like your legacy to be? Have you ever thought of that?
Well, I think it's pretty cool once we finally get around to having kids, if you ever get on board with this. I think it'd be awesome for them to have all this stuff, this, like, huge trove of us interacting before they were here, because, like, how much would you pay to have this amount of content, like, from your parents, like, when they were younger,
Right. I think it would be great because you get to understand why they say the things they do, or what, led them to make certain decisions.
Yeah. And then that would, like, maybe answer a lot of questions that you have about, like, why are you the way you are?
Yeah. I mean, there's all sort of, genetic testing and stuff like that now.
No, not genetic testing. I mean, like their behaviors.
Right.
because
like the proclivities.
As much as we want to say, like, oh yeah, like I'm not like my parents or whatever, it's like everything comes from our parents, right?
Your kids are gonna be like, yep, that's the guy who drank Pedialyte, sipped it. Sipped it. That's right. That's my granddad.
Old granddad.
Sipping on Pedialyte after a wedding. Is that what we should do?
We might have to strike that from our legacy via editing. But yeah, it's all pretty cool. This documenting thing, that's the cool part of doing all this stuff. There's so many different reasons to do something like this, and if the only reason, if like nobody gets any benefit out of it, maybe our kids will get a kick out of it.
But don't you also find that, or not find that, do you think that documenting, putting yourself out in public do you think it makes you better because you have people watching you, quote unquote?
What do you mean makes you better?
Do you think you consider the things that you do or say a little bit more or no?
Before I put it out to the world?
Right.
Well, it wouldn't be out in the world if I wasn't putting it out in the world. Or what
Yeah,
do you
but
mean
like
my daily interactions?
Right. With people.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess it helps to sort of like find your voice and understand your voice and how you come off.
How you come off to people.
To other people, yeah.
Because you can manage the way people see you, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think of politicians or whatever, all those are like carefully crafted, like messages and say, you know what I mean, like speeches and stuff like that, so that they come across exactly this way.
Is Donald Trump carefully crafted?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Well, I think after the fact, he crafts what he said. And think in the moment, he doesn't care what the hell he says.
No, I think it's all
and then
very...
he sometimes switches what he says, what he said. Anyway.
But what about keeping you in something longer than you should be, because that is the perception that you put out to the world? Do you know what I mean? Say you are like a
Poker
mayor.
Player.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Poker player. I guess the podcast is on poker and love.
So does it keep me in poker longer than I might have, since I'm now a voice in poker?
Right.
Maybe. Only because it extended the interest shelf life of poker for me. Because I don't know if I'd even be playing poker right now if I didn't start the blog.
I mean, that public perception of you influences. I was going to say guides, but I don't think that's the right word. Like influences your decisions.
Yeah, it might.
And that's the only thing I think that you have to probably be careful of, right? Because you want to make sure that even if you are out in public, I mean, I don't really consider this like public. I feel like 5 people know me, and that's great. I love that. I needed 5 more friends in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You're still listening to your own voice and not just now doing what people expect you to do and people want you to do. Yep. You know, and I think that's the only like downside to that type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can kind of get caught up in playing the role of this person that people see you as.
Right.
Yeah. That can happen.
Yeah. And then, you know, like, and personally, I've always thought I just want to live invisibly, you know? So yeah, it's interesting.
I think that's happened to me to some degree because I'm not like in love with like talking about hand histories. It's probably my least favorite thing about poker. And even though I understand how beneficial it is, and it's sort of like a requirement if you're going to play poker, like take it seriously and be a professional, that you have to talk about hand histories. But it's not like it's definitely not my favorite part about the content, you know, talking about all these hand histories. But I know people love them so much that I feel obligated to continue to deliver these hand histories and like create content about hand histories. So I don't know. I mean, there could come a time when I'm doing something that doesn't involve hand histories anymore. But for now, I kind of feel that way. So
just because we're not trading money, you're still in a relationship where there's an exchange, right? So people give you attention, which, you know, they give you their time. So in exchange, you actually want to give them something that they want, right? So, because usually, right,
Sure.
that's how it works. You go to a store, like you give them money, you get your product.
Yeah.
But this is like, it's an energy transfer, and that's, I mean, it's valid. Like you wouldn't want to sign up for something and then you get something that you didn't ask for. But I've also witnessed good, like people being very receptive to evolution as well of your person. So the reason I bring it up is like sort of like Joshua says in school. So I feel like he's probably younger, right? So to not think that you have to be stuck in that perception because you built it, you know, when you were younger or whatever. People allow you to evolve because of how much time they really are paying attention to you. I don't know. That's just Just my thought.
Okay. Good question, though, Joshua.
Thanks, Joshua, for the good question.
Yeah. Let's run through some comments, and then we'll wrap it up. Comments from the last video cast.
Called A Couch Date.
Elise quoted you saying, "Don't label me because I'll cut you. Busi is the GOAT." Let's see. Rich, I was a little afraid to start this based solely on its length, but then I found it extremely entertaining and amusing, especially discussion about angry black women. By the end, I was wishing it wasn't nearly over.
Aw, thanks, Rich.
So that's cool. He's an older vet, he says. I've always been impressed that he sports a military type haircut.
Who, Andrew?
Oh, I think back in the day he saw an older photo of me. I wouldn't mind bringing that haircut back. Robert,
still to this day?
Yeah. Yeah. The buzz cut. That's the life. Robert Pankowski, don't be on YouTube's mercy. Post to Vimeo. If YouTube cuts you off, you have something to fall back on. Fair advice for any content creators out there. Don't be beholden to any one particular platform. Yeah.
Okay.
Including you. You're a content creator.
I am.
Mm-hmm. Tongma says, nice date. I actually felt like the third wheel and sitting in the back seat. Have you ever actually been a third wheel on a date?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Why were you there?
Because you couldn't go out by yourself. And so parents made us go out in twos. You know, like Noah's Ark.
Or threes.
2s and 3s and 4s. When I was growing up, I couldn't tell my mother at 13 that, hey, Mom, I have a boyfriend. Like, it's cute when you're 5.
What about 14?
That's what I mean. So it's cute when you're like 5, right? You go to nursery school and you have a boyfriend. But when you're like 12, like that early puberty, I didn't tell my mother, hey, Mom, I have a boyfriend. And as a result, like, I'd say...
She'd be like, oh, hell no, you don't have a boyfriend? Or what?
No. What I mean is, like, so my friend would say, I'm going to the movies with Busi. But really, it's like Busi and her boyfriend.
I see.
And then that's how you become the
third wheeling.
Yeah, very easily.
That must have been awkward.
Did they
kiss in front of you?
No.
Robert Beauchamp says, this is an excellent idea, Busi and Andrew. This video tells the interaction between you is inspiring.
What does it inspire you to do?
Drink Pedialyte slowly.
Thank you. Well, whose comment was that?
That was Robert Beauchamp.
Thank you, Robert.
Warren Buffett has interesting thoughts. He says, this is the second year I've decided to skip the WSOP. My bankroll has never been healthier. Almost went to play the Big 50. Felt like I should have been part of it. Decided not to when remembering the feeling of getting one-outed for a massive pot in the Colossus, etc. And he says, grinding cash knowing there's better games in LA. You can keep the WSOP. We're very spoiled here in California. Awesome cash games. There's always some kind of good tourney going. Love this channel. Your hair looks great, Miss Angry Woman. LOL. So yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting thought, is skipping the WSOP. Have you ever had that thought?
I had.
Yes, that was Busi's idea. And because assumedly all the professionals in the world are in Las Vegas for the WSOP, so maybe the cash games elsewhere are quite good.
Maybe.
Warren Buffett says that is true in
California. California. But also I'm only getting second
hand info.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I could be having a great series.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, I think that the tournaments probably are great. It seems to me that the cash games, the no limit cash games thus far have not been that good.
What does that mean? Like, too many professionals, not enough regs.
Yeah.
Not enough recs.
Not enough action in the no limit games. Seems like the PLO, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of action to be found in those games. So I think once we're back in Vegas, that I'm going to focus on tournaments. I'm going to check out the PLO and less no limit hold'em.
Sounds like a plan.
Or I'll just go to LA.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
We will be back in Vegas and we'll see you there. So thank you for listening. And if you're watching, thank you for watching Tells on the Couch.
Yeah.
Is that what we should name it? Tells on the Couch?
No, because we're not on a couch. We're on chairs. Tells on chairs. Leave us a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. subscribe. That'd be awesome.
Send us some questions, and as Joshua said, I will put the email address in the show notes.
Okay, leave us comment somewhere. Subscribe somewhere. Click thumbs up somewhere. Thanks.
You think you're so clever.
No.